Hi, welcome to Nina in the Kitchen, where today I am making the most outrageously delicious blondies that I've ever had. I wanted to share this recipe with you. If you don't know what a blondie is, it's like a brownie but without chocolate. You can put chocolate chips in here. Actually, there are so many variations, so this is a really great base recipe. So here's what I have going on. I'm starting to make some brown butter, and I'm going to crank this up to a medium heat in just a moment. This is 1 cup of toasted pecans. The way that you toast these is to put them on a medium heat and just stir them around, and eventually you'll start to smell this really delicious fragrance, and that's when they're toasted. If you wait for them to become brown, nuts do this thing. They're not done, and then they're burnt. So I also want to point out that you can chop these as fine as you like. If you like bigger pieces, you can chop them into larger pieces or smaller. So that's a personal preference. I also have an 8x8 pan that I have sprayed with a cooking spray. And what I did is just leave this over the edges so that I can use this like a sling and lift that up later. So I'll put both of these things in the back and we'll get going. So while this is melting and that is cooling, I'm mixing together all the dry ingredients. This is 1 cup of all-purpose flour. I have 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda, and you just need a little pinch of salt, 3-fingered pinch, and you just mix this up. My butter is just starting to sizzle, so let me get over there. Now, if you've never made brown butter before, it's very easy to do, but what happens is you want this butter to dehydrate. The reason that it's bubbling and popping is because of the water content in the butter. So just keep stirring over a medium heat. In about 3 minutes, you're going to see that the butter solids, as opposed to the oil in the butter, is going to start turning brown, and it smells rather nutty. And that is when you take it off the heat, and I'll show you what that looks like. Now, don't stop stirring this, because if you do, what happens is all of a sudden you'll get this big pop of oil. You can badly burn yourself, and you want to keep it moving so that you can control how brown this gets. As you can see, there's some brown bits, and that's where the cream is now starting to brown on this. You don't want to go any darker than that, so I'm going to remove this from the heat. Just unplug that. And now you can add your sugars. This is 1/4 cup of granulated sugar and 2/3 cup of light brown sugar. Just put those in here. So you want to just mix this together, make sure there's no lumps in here, and just wait for this to cool. It doesn't need to be completely cool, but you want it to be just barely warm, because the next thing to go in is going to be 2 eggs. So we'll do 1 whole egg and then 1 egg yolk from that large egg. This is the 1 whole egg and then the extra yolk. No matter if you're using your toaster oven or your big oven, then you want to put it on 350 degrees. If you have convection available, go ahead and use that. It'll brown it really nicely. This is warm now, but it's really body temperature. It's a little warmer than room temp. I'm just going to quickly scramble this up. The next thing going in, I have 2 teaspoons of vanilla. You need 1 tablespoon of corn syrup, and that gives it a nice chew, and I'm just gonna eyeball that. And then add the egg to this. And you don't have to really mix it thoroughly in here, because it's going right into the dry ingredients along with these pecans. Just mix this thoroughly, and that's the mixture. And you know me with my machines, I like to push a button, but this is so easy. You saw how quickly this went together. It goes into the pan. Once it's in the pan, just spread it out evenly to the edges, and into the oven it goes for about a half hour. It's going to be, I would say, 28 to 35 minutes, depending on your heat. If you're not using convection, you'll want to rotate this pan about halfway through the baking, and off it goes. Well, these are ready to cut. These came out of the oven at 32 minutes, I believe it was. I left it in here for about 5 minutes, then just lifted it out to finish cooling. And you test these like a cake. So just put this in here. There's nice and clean. There's a little crumb hanging there, which is perfect because that shows there's still moisture in there. And then you just peel this off. Flip it back, and then just cut these into 12 pieces. I think I'll take an inside piece. I've been waiting for this. The kitchen smells so good between the brown butter and the brown sugar, and I think just sugar in general smells good. What really comes through, of course, the crunch from the pecans and that butter pecan flavor, the brown butter, the brown sugar. It smells so delicious. This is so moist and tender. They're just beautiful. You taste this butter pecan flavor, which is a classic for a reason. It's delicious. These are so delicious. They're moist. The first thing you get is a little crispy crust, and then the butter pecan flavor with that brown butter to drive it home. These are really a delicious home run. I hope you try this recipe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you around. Bye, guys.